Hey everybody, this is Salu 5 Freaking Onion Rings, and I can't do this live because every time I plug in my UK65, I end up not being able to be online. So I am going to update it to the performance version of Betaflight 4.0, and it's going to be awesome. So you go to this website. I'll have a link down below. It's Fatzinger. UAV Tech basically cut all of the F3 boards, a nice little performance version. I can't speak correctly today, so forgive me. Let's see. So I am using Crazy Bee F3 flysky. We're going to save that. Going to open. No, we're not opening. Sorry. You don't want to open. You want to save it somewhere easily attainable. So I have it in my... I save it to my Betaflight beta version of Configurator. It's just easy for me. There was a new version of Configurator, so I'm using... I'm not using 10.5.1. I'm using 10.6, which... boy, yeah. So Chrome OS version. It's a lot faster for me. It's 10.6. But anyway, 10.5 works fine with this. A good part about it, pretty simple. You just want to plug in your flight controller, or plug in your quad, your UK65. This one has no beeper, so that will save me some agony. And I'm about to be cut offline here, so that will disappear in a minute. Oh well. Alright, so we're tangled in. Just remember where you downloaded your image, or your hex file. I remember USVCP, and since it's one of those integrated, your receiver, where am I looking? Ah, here. Yeah, your receiver is SPI RX support. So, and yeah, FlySky 2A. So we're going to disconnect, update firmware. You don't have to worry about any of this since we have it on, no, not online, firmware local. Yeah, failed to remote load. Yeah. Every time I plug in my UK65, my network connection goes out. That's hilarious. I don't know why. So anyway, Crazy Bee, yeah, select your Performance Edition, open, and we're going to flash. And if you notice, switches to DFU. Best part of Configurator 10.5 and up, it's automatic easy switching to DFU. So this is performance version on a UK65. I'm going to go through some settings. These are applicable to anything I found under 3 inches, just so you know. So Leader 120 all the way down to UK65. A lot of these work really well. So we're going to connect. And the F3 boards do take a bit longer to load. So I'm just going to go through the whole setup. Ports, VCP is what we need. Good. All right, so I just realized I do need to enable smart audio, VTX TBS smart audio on UART3. And yeah, so VCP all the way across, no big deal. Smart audio on UART3. Save and reboot. Good. Going into here. This is so funny. This is the smallest thing I have, and it literally runs D-Shot with no problem. I don't like having motor stop on. I like it off. Some people like it on. I just can't do it. I'm already at 41%, so I'm going to try 8K 4K, but if that goes too high, I'll have to take it down. SPI RX FlySky 2A, good. That's saved. That's good. I want my arming angle to be 180, and that's in case I put it down at an angle and I need to flip it around. Telemetry's on. That's awesome. And everything else on this page is good. If you know some bobbles and weird stuff, you might take your motor idle throttle up, but 5.5 has been good for me. Save and reboot. Sometimes takes a second. or 2. Yeah, there we go. Multi-Wii. F3 boards don't reboot as fast, so I think they just, I don't know. I've had some that do really well, some that don't. Going down, just rechecking. We're at 73%, so try 4K, 4K. And what I'm looking at is a 73%. That is not something you want to be flying at idle, because your CPU just can't handle it. So you'll have some spaz out freaky moments. Reconnecting. There we go. Hopefully this will drop it down below 50. Ah, yeah, back to 30. 30 is great. And you want the PID loop and gyro to at least be 4K above. I believe only gyro has to be above 4K for all the dynamic filtering works, but I like 4K, 4K, you will never notice a difference, especially on these micros. I used to fly 4.2 on my Leader 120, flew great. Battery, now for these tiny ones, I literally go down to 2.9, 2.8 range because the batteries are so small, you will immediately you fly most of your time in 3 at 3 volts. Wish I was joking. PIDs. I am going to leave these default for now. 77, 77, 77, 75. Alright, that makes for a twitchy quad, so I don't recommend those. These I'm going to try. The reason that your eye is so high, you have, it's not iTerm relax is enabled. So because of this performance version, your eyes can actually be up, which is awesome. Your Ds also are now dynamic, so it goes anywhere from 20 to 35 with an advance and a gain of 2720, blah, blah, blah. Basically, that keeps you from having a lot more noise when you're not needing it. So instead of riding around at 35 all the time, you fly at 20 and then it ramps up. Watch UAV Tech's explanation on these. He is amazing. I love that, guys. He just explains things so well. Throttle boost is enabled. You don't need absolute control. Acro Trainer does not work on this performance version, and feed forward transition does work, but I don't really care. I don't like that smoothie weird feeling. TPA, we're going to set a 7 and 1850. Before, whenever I tried this, without these TPAs, I got some high-speed oscillations. This is supposed to help, so I'll check back in whenever I get my test flights in. So we're going to save that. Also, if you feel like you have any quad that's going too fast, you can scale your throttle, which simply means if you go 50%, you have the full throttle range, but only half the power. If you clip, that means that after 50% of your throttle range, the inputs will do nothing. So if you want to keep the stick feel the same, scale, and if you want the power feel the same, clip. That's generally, I fly my leader inside every now and then, so I will drop it down to scale. So I have full stick motion, but half the power or a third. I actually fly at like a 30%, I believe. But anyway, that's a cool throttle limit thing. You used to have to do that in your RC controller, but not anymore. Flipping over to filters, this is where it gets a little more fun. The D-term low pass is on. Just leave that alone. 150, 250. Since it's dynamic, that's a wide enough range, works pretty well. Now, I have heard that anything above 610 over here shifts this to the high range, which is what you want for these micro quads and PT1 since you're going a wide angle. This is what I have heard. I have not tested these thoroughly, but I do know there is a difference between 450 and 650 on small quads. I haven't tried it on larger ones, but at least 3 inches and below. Excuse me. And I've heard 4 inches and below, you can change that safely to 650. As always, test your motor temps when you flash. Do not ever just go and rip it on your first flight unless you're an idiot like me. You can let me blow something up, but always test your motor temps, especially when dealing with this section. And if you want an in-depth comprehensive again view of this, go over to UAV Tech. He's amazing for it. RC smoothing is now filtered, and trust me, you will feel, or I feel a difference between filter and interpolation. It might be a placebo, but it just feels so much better to me. Low threshold, I like to make that lower, and I like high, higher. And that's just a personal preference. 1050, you probably wouldn't notice a difference. Arming range, as always, you want to set it up. Since this is performance, you do get launch control, and it's hilarious with these micros, because you just take off like a bat out of hell. Like, come on, who doesn't like doing that? It's pretty simple. You just flip the switch, pitch forward. Once you hit the angle that you want to be pitched at, hold it, and then as soon as you raise your throttle, it will take over and shoot you out like a cannon. Your little cannonball. Beeper. I don't have a beeper, so never mind. There's no beeper on this one, or I would turn it on. And I do want turtle mode, especially on these micros. Turtle mode is awesome. A3. All right. So that's the very simple setup. I do want angle mode. aux2. I want angle mode. Actually, I want angle and horizon. aux2. It's a 3-position switch, so 2 is angle, 3 is horizon. And the reason being, I'm flying a micro, so sometimes it's easier to fly in angle mode. Although I still don't. I don't know. Some people say it's easier. It's a whole new learning concept for me, so I kind of got used to the acro goodness. Adjustments you don't need unless you want to do something. Since this one has OSD, pretty much anything I would ever change is in OSD. I do fly minutes. Tiny battery, I get 2 minutes, so I always keep my eye on that. Throttle position, I just like to know how much I'm jamming it. The funny thing about this is that you do get current draw, which is hilarious. For this little tiny thing, it's got current draw, it's got Ma draw. Ma draw, I love that. You can see your power drain, which I don't really use, but I do like it, so we're going to go with that. You can see power, average cell voltage. I could see VTX channel, but I really don't care. This thing does have smart audio. A lot of mine don't, so I don't really worry about them too much. One thing I do like is G-force. So as long as your accelerometer's on, you can see how many G's you're pulling. And it's hilarious to watch a tiny quad hit like 4 G's. Normally that happens in a crash though, so it's not so good. But whatever. Let's see. That is going to do it here. Fly mode, craft name. I don't need any of that, I don't care. Crash flip mode, ESC fail. Okay, timers are good. I do not have distance. I do want my batteries. The funny thing, I can see RSSI. I forgot. This is literally the smallest micro I have, 65 millimeter, and it has all of the goodies. So what you buy now is just so much better than what you used to buy. I don't care about black box, but if you want to see it, max G-force I like to see, and FFT is for filtering your frequency. I forgot what that stands for, but it's pretty cool to see. Normally with the smaller ones, it's in the higher ranges. So save. Now, with all those changes, only one CLI command that I use, and that is get dyne. And you want your dynamic notch range to be high. Control V equals high. Enter. Oh, no, I need set. Ha. Yeah, I noticed. Home set. Doobie-doo. Sometimes, there it goes. Okay. For some reason, it's not updating like it should. So, Okay, let's try that again. Set dynamic notch range equals high. Oh, I see. It's putting the this line should be up here, but it's not. That's funny. So just double check. Get dynamic notch range high, and that's for anything under 4 inches. Again, medium is 5, low is 6 and above. Auto works, but from what I've heard, high is better. So save. Rebooting. All right, it's just a little slow to pop stuff in. So I'm just going to run through one more time. Also, I had a request, so ports were good. Telemetry output. Okay, I don't have that. Don't have that. It's auto. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Duh. Never mind. All that stuff's built in. I love that. D-Shot 600, 4K, 4K, 180. I also forgot one OSD piece that I just remembered. Power battery, 2.8, 2.9, failsafe. My big thing is 4, so that's 0.4 seconds. PID tuning, we're going stock for the most part. Do I need iTerm rotation? It's appreciated. Oh, this is the one, yeah. It's good for a line of sight, I don't care. I do like VBAT PID, so I want to save that. Refresh to make sure it works. Okay. Let's turn on iTerm rotation. It doesn't do anything bad. Refresh. Oh, it does work. I don't care about smart feed forward and integrated yaw. I haven't had a chance to play with, but it is not enabled in this performance version, so don't even worry about it if you're using performance. All of these settings so far are good for the regular version of Betaflight on F3 boards, except that you do not get dynamic and you don't get throttle boost or iTerm relax. I believe you get iTerm. Essentially, the non-performance version is so cut down to make it into the memory. So, yeah, that's why I was so happy whenever UAV cut those performance versions. So, once again, please give him some love. Because man, whew, and he explains things in a way I can understand, which is, you really don't know how good that is. Because I can be dumb as a brick. This was cut out for to save space. Motors were good. The other OSD that I do like, there's flip arrow. This will point you in the direction that you need to flip when you're in turtle mode. So there you'd be pitching right. And it would flip you over and save you a lot of trouble trying to figure out which prop is up and down. It works pretty well. Save. All right, so in the interest of time, I'm going to put this up. I will have a flight video soon as my battery's finished charging. I just wanted to get this out. One thing I am going to do, if you have a UK65, copy to clipboard. If you have a UK65, I am putting my Diff All down in... I'm going to try to put it in either as a link or just paste it into the description. So you can copy this out and just go into CLI. You just copy this, go into CLI and paste it. Hit enter and it will put all of my settings in for you. But if you do that, save it. Oh, it saves anyway. Save it. Reboot. If you do that, you'll have all of my settings without having to go through. And one thing I recommend you do, put in your rates. I do not recommend anybody fly with my rates. The rates are such a personal thing. These rates are what I'm talking about. If you fly with this and you're not used to it, you will just end up spinning out like crazy. I've spent a lot of time with the high sensitivity, and it's mostly due to the range limits of my thumbs, to be honest. I started off digital because I came from the Nintendo days, and I had to train myself to have very sensitive center stick feel. So don't use my rates if you do copy out my Diff All. and just paste it. So once again, Diff All, you just copy and you just paste it in here, and it will do everything that I just did, reboot you, and pop you right back in with the setup. This Diff All is only for UK 65s with flysky, just so you know. Didn't think about that. The reason being, your configuration right here is going to be different, and probably a few things behind the scenes. So someone had asked for a Diff All. If you're willing to try it on a different quad, most of the settings we'll go through. This is only for performance version, and most of the settings will go through, but you'll still have to go configure it and set it, some things the way you want them. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much. Once again, please subscribe, like, comment. I try to answer everything I can as often as I can. So thank you so much for all the support. And yeah, we'll talk at you later. Y'all have a good one.